Hey guys, a very warm welcome back to a brand new video of ours where we'll be talking about a few nutritional facts and myths and along the way giving you a guideline as to what you can do during these periods and also extending beyond this lockdown period. Before we begin, I'm just going to give you a basic rundown as to what we are going to be discussing here. And if you guys are here for any sort of diets or plans that will get you shredded in 30 days, in 40 days, in 2 months, trust me, this video is not for you. You can just press the skip button or scroll down your feed, to be very honest. This is for those people who want to educate themselves about the basic science about how nutrition works. What exactly is the basics of nutrition? And I'm not going to be diving down into very scientific terms here because this video is for everyone and anyone who does not have basic ideas about nutrition. And for those of you who does have, so definitely you guys can recap or recheck or cross connect with it. Along with that, I'll be sharing you my personal nutrition program that I've been following for years. And I know it's been a long time and a lot of people have been asking me over the years about what I actually eat in real life. And I'm going to be very raw and very specific about it and get down into the absolute details. By the way, just getting a fact clear, I'm no professional bodybuilder or competitive athlete. So basically my professional requirements do not go to the fact where I have to maintain an extreme level of physique throughout the year. That enables me a lot of liberty in my diet, which I can definitely get past if I'm not someone who's competing. To be very honest, as you guys will figure it out, it's nothing special. It's not something very tailor-made. It's something very basic that everyone can follow. I'm not saying it's perfect. Every individual body works differently. You have to understand that, guys. Just behind the camera, I can't give you a one-size-fits-all diet for every possible person who's watching this video. So what I'll be doing instead is I'll be educating you about your body and how you can apply the basic nutritional science and progress in your journey of getting in shape. So without further delay, guys, let's dive down straight into the nuances of the nutritional program that we are about to discuss. So right away, guys, we are going to be diving down into making you understand how you can calculate your daily calorie requirements in order to either stay in shape, lose weight, or gain muscle mass. So the very first thing you have to understand is all these calculations are merely estimates or approximations because there are a lot of variables in play here, including your body fat percentage and a few other things, where a lot of professional grade equipments are required indeed in order to give you a more accurate measure. And when I compare my diet to the actual calculations that comes for me, you'll understand how things might differ here and there. Straight away, we are going to be diving down into the very first calculation that you guys can do for yourself, which is the BMR. So the BMR stands for basal metabolic rate, which in a nutshell is basically the amount of calories that your body burns to carry out normal metabolic processes, which in simple layman term means if you are just lazing around the house, just lying down, the basic amount of calories that your body will burn anyway throughout the course of the day, that is known as your basal metabolic rate. So as you can see on the screen, the basic formula for BMR for men is 10 times your weight in kgs plus 6.2 times your height in centimeters minus 5 times your age in years plus 5. This goes for men, and for women is basically kind of the exact same thing, which is 10 times your weight in kgs plus 6.25 times your height in centimeters minus 5 times your age in years, but in the end it's minus 161 instead of plus 5. That's the main difference here. So having gone through the BMR and now you have an understanding what the BMR is and how to calculate it, the next thing we are going to be diving down is the TDW, which stands for total daily energy expenditure. TDW stands for the amount of calories your body is burning when you're performing some sort of human activities, which basically includes again necessarily your BMR in it. Apart from that, it also includes thermic effect of food, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is stuff like getting up, walking to the other room, brushing your teeth, wearing your clothes, things like that, and of course effect of activities or what we call as exercise. So basically here one basic point to address is how do we determine the thermic effect of food. So basically when we eat food, our body must expand energy to digest the food we eat. This energy expenditure is referred to as a thermic effect of food, and it involves breaking down the protein, carbohydrates, fats and other micronutrients that we consume into individual amino acids, sugars, fatty acids, etc. So as per research, the thermic effect of food generally accounts for 10% of your total daily energy expenditure. but that can be slightly higher or lower based on the exact macronutrient composition of your diet. So when we are talking about the non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is NEAT, so that basically constitutes the number of calories which we burn through basic movements which is not exercise. Like I said, wearing your clothes, getting up from bed, brushing your teeth, going from one room to the other, walking up to your car, your bike, etc. Let's use an example of a trainer. So a trainer goes to the gym and practically most of the day he's just standing up or helping out someone or the other. So his NEAT is practically a lot higher than someone who's at a white collar job maybe. So things like that determine what you can get away and what you can't get away with. So next we come to the thermic effect of activity, or in short T. So thermic effect activity is basically the number of calories burned as a result of exercise, which again includes the amount of calories we are burning in a workout session. Putting into play all these different factors along with your BMR gives you your total daily energy expenditure. So the basic protocol, or the basic way where you can estimate your TDW, is basically following the below calculations. So as you can see on the screen, the very first category of people are referred to as sedentary. So if you're sedentary with little to no exercise, including your normal physical activities, you just multiply your BMR with 1.2. Following that are individuals with light activities, where they are working out maybe irregularly for 1 to 3 days a week, or they are partially active sometimes, moderately goes out for morning walks, or their job demands them to walk from one building to the other, one place in the campus to the other, things like that. So you guys can assume that definitely. So for individuals of light activities, you can multiply your BMR by 1.375. For individuals of moderate activities, you can multiply your BMR with 1.55. Moving on to very active individuals, you can multiply your BMR with 1.725. and extremely active people, you can multiply your BMR with 1.9. So this will give you an approximation, again I stress on the word approximation, about how many calories you require throughout the day, and based on that what goal you have in mind, whether you're wanting to lose weight, whether you're wanting to gain weight, or whether you want to maintain what you have, you guys can definitely plus minus a few calories here and there in order to suit those goals. And when I'm talking about minusing or adding a few calories, guys, I can't give you a definitive number here, because again, coming back to the very first thing that I have discussed, you have to understand that every individual is different, and as a professional I can't be biased, or I can't be opinionated enough and arrogant enough to just shove you off a number and just tell you that if you do this will work. What I can do instead is give you a range to work with. So now that we have understood the basics of BMR and TDW, let's dive straight down into how we are going to determine how much calories do we require to maintain our goals. So the model here we'll be following is the basic calories in, calories out model. Again, I know to some of you guys it's a very big oversimplification, but trust me guys, the basic primary motto here is sustainability. There are countless number of diets that dive deep down into even the genetics that a person has in order to determine their diet. Now these are fields which are highly complicated, and it's not feasible for an average Joe like you and I to go that deep and crack our brains up so much just in order to figure out something that is very basic. So the main motto here is that why not get the basics correct before we dive down into the finer details, because 99% of you here are not professional athletes, or you don't wish to compete on stage. You guys just want to have a decent body, that's about it. So for that factor, we are keeping the calculations and we are keeping the references extremely simple so that each and every one of you has something to start with. So having said that, the first category of people we'll be addressing is the people who wants to maintain their weight, where they are happy wherever they are and they just want to hold on to it. So for you guys, calorie intake which is matching with your TDW is the way to go. Now definitely you don't have to be very accurate to that. Around 100-150 plus minus of the TDW is fair enough. That's not going to cause you any harm in the lockdown period that we are facing, even in the long run as per se. So moving on to the next category of people who wants to gain weight. Now gain weight as in here we are specifically referring to a gain in muscle mass. Definitely a surplus of around 500 all the way to 1000 might work for you. Might, because again every individual person is different and it's very difficult to assess someone without having seen them visually and without having understanding their activities and history about exercise. You guys definitely have to be in a lot more surplus than someone who's very prone to getting fat or who already has characteristics that enable him to gain weight very quickly. This step should be taken very progressively. You can't just randomly jump to 500,000 calories within a matter of days. That would just set you off in the short term and it will cause a lot of discomfort. So take it slow and easy. Increase 100-150 calories every day or every week depending on how comfortable you are, and ultimately within a matter of 3 to 4 weeks reach a caloric intake which is close to 500 to 1000 calories above your TDW. That will definitely leave you out with a lot of possibilities of gaining weight if this is being followed properly. Now moving on to the category of people, which ironically happens to be the most common category of people who are wanting to lose weight. Now for you guys, definitely there are approaches which are much more rigid, much more detailed, much more fancy, but the fact of the matter is, if you guys can't get your foundational basics correct, you guys will have nothing to build up upon. It's just like a herd mentality of people following a few things which so-called happens to work for a very few people in the population. It's as good as that. Just because it sounds fancy does not mean it's correct. Get your facts correct and cross-check about the information that you receive. Even I would encourage everyone to cross-check with whatever information is given out in this video also, just so that you have a proper understanding that what you're dealing with. So here we are gonna be sticking to the very basics, which is the CICO model, the calories in, calories out model. As for a lot of you, this might be a very big oversimplification, but trust me, having trained so many clients over the matter of years, this very oversimplification actually helps the majority of people to lose weight. It's as simple as that, period. And there are a lot of researches that actually indicate that such approach is definitely more efficient in training beginners or training people who does not have prior experiences to work. So based on that approach, let's get down into the numbers. So here we are assuming that a person wants to lose 10 kgs over a matter of a modest 90 days. So 10 kgs is equivalent to 22 pounds of weight. So in order to lose 22 pounds, and here again by weight we'll be referring to fat. Again, that's the majority of the thing that people wants to lose. So based on that fact, now coming to the current situation, if 3500 calories are burning 1 pound of fat, his basic deficit would be something around 3500 into 22, which amounts to 77,000 calories of deficit, of total deficit, that is. So here we are taking a period of 90 days into consideration. So if we divide the entire number, that is 77,000 divided by 90, we arrive at 855 calories of deficit per day in order to achieve the goal. Now again, this is just an example of a very generic human being, let's just say, and this can definitely vary from person to person. Hence this is something that you have to figure out and observe for yourself, because these are just numbers and approximations and estimations. There cannot be an accurate number which has to do the magic work for you. So in this regard, definitely I hope this example helps you in understanding where you are currently at, so that you can do your work from there. And like I said guys, always observe within a range. Don't limit yourself to just one certain amount of calorie deficit or calorie surplus. So this range will definitely enable you to have a sweet spot where your body would be responding the best. One more thing that I would like to add is that the quality of your food is definitely a very big determinant into determining how well you're eating. So your macronutrient ratios along with your micronutrients, so primarily your fat, carbohydrates and proteins, does go a long way in helping you understand your quality of the nutrition program. So definitely maintain a good enough balance in that regard and do not favor just one category of macronutrients just because it's a hype. So balance is definitely required all over. Keeping that in mind guys, definitely quality matters. A calorie is not just a calorie. So just keep that in mind. I really hope that this information was valuable enough so that you guys can have a basic understanding as to how many calories you require. And in case if tracking proves to be a very difficult thing, like food tracking that is, then definitely there are a lot of apps that can be used to enable you to understand this better. So feel free to hit me up in the inbox or in the comment section in order to get some suggestions, and hopefully following these protocols you will definitely arrive at a very optimal place soon enough if these are being followed correctly. So I hope this answers a lot of questions out there and addresses a lot of myths. So now moving on to what I have throughout the day. So on your screen there will be calculation of the amount of calories and micronutrients I am having throughout the day, which will help you get a better idea as to what I intake throughout and what my nutrition plan is like. A typical breakfast consists of me having either Kellogg's or muesli, and this Kellogg's is usually nothing more than 25 to 30 grams along with 100 ml of milk, again whole milk in this case too, and topped up with a few dry fruits, which primarily includes cashews, walnuts and almonds along with a few raisins. So moving on from there, the next meal that I have is primarily my lunch, which usually includes 2 rotis along with a bowl of vegetables and sometimes accompanied by sweet potato along with 3 scrambled eggs. And in case there are any additional add-ons, as you guys can see, that differs from day to day. In a normal day, usually these are the basics that I stick to. So this entire thing is made into a wrap and topped up with ketchup just for additional taste and no other purpose. So moving on from there, in the evening usually I again end up having a cup of coffee along with 2 cream cracker biscuits. And in the middle of the entire day, depending on my workout, I do end up taking 1 protein shake, mostly with water. If I'm not on any sort of mini bulk, the scoop that I take is usually 1.5 to 2 scoops per day. When I'm on a stage where I'm bulking and not necessarily wanting to lean down, I substitute the water for another additional 300 to 400 ml of milk. And when it comes to the dinner, I usually have again rotis in that case, but this time quantity of 1 instead of 2, and along with that 2 scrambled eggs, 1 cream cracker biscuit, vegetables or boiled chicken mixed with a few vegetables. So chicken usually I end up having 3 to 4 times a week, and if I'm not having that, then definitely soybean or any other substitute of a basic protein that I end up taking. So guys, I sincerely hope that in a world where everyone's trying to sell you their meal plans and programs about getting shredded in 30 days, in 2 months, this honest and sincere approach to nutrition has opened your eyes to a lot of things you weren't aware of. And if it is the case, then feel free to share this video with your friends and family and let them in about the basics of nutrition and how they, if apply science instead of running after fascinating myths and magical things, can definitely benefit from that in a fitness aspect as well as from an educational aspect. So having said that guys, this is your coach Promit Shome signing off for today, and I'll be seeing you very soon in another brand new video. Till then guys, stay safe, stay at home, and let's hope for the best.